Good evening, everybody out there on the internet. This is Unknown Man again with Game Mechanic, and we are getting back into Flotsam. I just recently finished the sail, and I have my boat made. Quest is finished. Now we're going to move forward towards building some fishing boats and start to get food production set up. So, talked about last time about staying on top of water. Water is everything. Firewood is something you have to keep up with. So wood is actually more important than plastic. And once you kind of get your set foundation and most of your walkways and stuff built, you'll be able to pick and choose when you want to go get plastic. I found that you never stop going and getting wood. It's just like, okay, get that wood, and after that's done, we'll go get a little chunk of plastic that's floating around up there. So now I need plastic. All of the things inside my initial swimmer's buoy, and I can get that little bit of wood out there, but I need like lots of plastic right now because I need to make more deckways. I need to make another fishing boat. The fishing boats cost, let's click on the right stuff here. I need 12 plastic and I need 6 dried wood, which I have plenty of dried wood, but I'm short on plastic. So what I'm going to do now is a different style buoy. It is a salvage buoy for boats. So it's exactly the same way as the other buoys, but the guy hops in a boat, he'll go out and grab 10 of that item, and he'll bring it back. If you have priorities set up, you can have multiple boats. He'll go grab 10 in that boat, he'll bring it back, he'll jump out of that boat, run inside, get him a drink, go right back to an empty boat, go right back out. Then he'll fill them all up until someone either unloads them or he can't go out again because all the boats are full, and then he will go and help with his prioritized duties in town. So I want to set that first salvage boat there. So he will come out and gather up this 63 plastic, and it should be Sammy Flot. There they all are. They're over there still working on the water. So Sammy has priorities for landmark salvaging, but he also has a priority on the end out here for salvaging stuff around buoys. So Sammy will pretty much finish whatever his job is. You can see him running there now. He's going to go get in the boat, he's going to take off, he's going to go up here to this buoy, and he's going to grab 10 plastic and bring it back. And there he goes. Let's speed this up. My other guys, well, ladies, so not guys, is Coy and Strokes. And didn't mean to pause, I just want to slow it down. They're still in here working on firewood and water production. There are well, you've got to do it with research. There's 10 points of research to actually unlock a solar distiller. If you've ever watched any survival TV, it's basically plastic that builds heat underneath, makes it condensate from the heat from the sun. The plastic catches the fresh water, drains it down into a catch basin, and you have fresh water, but it's minimal production, it's slow production. But once you get several of those around, this mad dash to stay on the distiller and blasting through firewood subsides pretty substantially. But until that point, you have to stay on top of this or you will run out of water. So everything on the ones that I do are set for focusing on what's going on in here. And I just let one guy, I'll set one guy to go fishing, and I'll set one guy to go salvaging. Sammy's almost always my salvager. Now, if you have multiple boats, and I may have mentioned this before, if you have multiple boats sitting out here, Sammy can get in one. If there's another boat available and they don't have anything prioritized to do in here, somebody else will go jump into the boat and go out and help him, as long as there's a buoy that they can work off of. So you can either set another buoy, or you can go and up the amount of boats that are allowed to gather off of that buoy or fish off that buoy. You can increase the boat count. So you could potentially have 5 or 6 boats over there off the same one. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it that way, but I haven't done it that way, so it may actually work. So they're out here unloading this boat. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. We're just waiting on production. And while they're unloading that boat, getting a little more plastic, I'm just keeping my eyes on firewood, kind of figure out how much is there. There's 16 out of 20, and you can see the limits. I mean, how much is in there is pretty well reflected on, the space in it. So the one thing that's funny with me is that they will take firewood out of there, put firewood in there, and the same person will set it all in there, and then they'll take it right back out and then turn around and throw it in the distiller. Could be a little optimization there. Just as in, like if you have two empty drying racks, you got a drying rack there, rather than just coming off of the boat and taking the wet wood and throwing it on the drying rack, they throw it in the storage first, and it could be that same person, it could be someone else. They'll take it out of the storage, take it to the drying rack, then take it out of the drying rack and take it right back to storage, even if you have firewood queued up here. I understand why it's done that way. It just seems to me that hopefully they will kind of optimize that and make the AI just a little smarter. Why should I run by the rack and put it in that box? I can just drop it in the box. It's on the way. Let's just do it that way. So just save a few steps, make everything a little more efficient. So Sammy unloaded that, and he's already gone again. Sammy's back out here again, getting me some more of that beautiful plastic so I can make those ugly makeshift walkways. It just looks like an old door or something. And there's a lot of wood on there, but you don't use wood to make walkways. It's kind of funny. I just kind of get a kick out of it. So let's speed him back up, get back. Come on, Sammy, get back. We need more plastic. So I've got 12 plastic in there, and I've got more coming. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this on out here. All the way out. I'm not sure if I can do it with 8, but I'll start off with 8 and see if I can actually squeeze that boat in. I think I can. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that mooring point will slide just to the left of the end of that walkway. Actually, I can go ahead and put the mooring point. Yeah, there, it'll do it. So I actually have a little room. I can slide it back, keep it all nice and tight, because I may end up putting more boats, one on the outside of that boat and another one off to the left here as I keep going. So slide this out until it goes green again, right there. So now I have 2 mooring points, and I have to wait on plastic waste to make the fishing boat. So I need 12 more plastic. But he's already got, I think 10 more just came in. So one more trip, and Sammy going out and getting plastic. One more trip, and I should have enough to build that boat. Well, I'll definitely have enough to build that boat. And then I can start fishing. And this little fish icon, so you have your buoy icons at the bottom. You've got your swimmer's icon first, and then you have your salvage buoy for drifters of the boat. And this is a pelican you can actually pick up later. It's not just a pet. That thing will perform hauling duties. It actually has to where you can set it a buoy, and that pelican will fly out. He'll pick up a piece of wood and he'll bring it back, and then he'll fly out and pick up a piece of wood and bring it back. And you can set him up. You can prioritize him. He's basically like another survivor on your raft, other than he won't cut firewood. He won't make water. He won't do any of the production. He'll gather, or he will haul. He will move things from point A to point B. So I have found, it seems to me, I haven't actually watched him do it, but the thing eats like a pelican. Their food consumption seems to be more than what it should. To me anyway, it just seems to. I haven't actually sat and watched him, done the math and all that to see how much he's actually eating, but it just seems like the food I never really could tap out on it. And so I'm down in food reserves. There's 11 there, but they have enough for a little bit. And you see that there, that boat's not necessarily locked to that mooring point. So that boat will dock at the closest mooring point. So if he was actually hauling this wood in, he would have docked here. But since he's going over getting that plastic, he's docking there now because I have that second mooring point set up. If I have multiple mooring points here, and say I had multiple mooring points and built the, kind of a mirror image out here on this end of it, the boat may take off from way down here, come up here, and then he'll come back over on the other end of the dock. So that is pretty efficient. They won't necessarily lock themselves into the same mooring point. So you may have 4 boats, like 2 fishing boats and 2, speaking of fishing boat, it's ready to be built. So there's the fishing boat. You can build that. But usually I end up with like 4 boats, 2 fishing boats, 2 salvage boats, and I'll have 6 to 8 mooring points. So I try to keep a couple of extra mooring points as I'm able to do it. I'm not focused on having extra mooring points at the beginning because you're limited on resources. But once you get the decks built, and a lot of your storage and things like that already lined out, your consumption is a lot smaller. So now I have a fishing boat. So the little fishing buoy thing is up. So I'm going to go over here and plop a fishing buoy there. And I'm going to go up here and plop a fishing buoy there. And I'm going to go down here and plop a fishing buoy there. And where's the rest of them? Is that it? No, that wasn't fish. I thought there was another one. But there's usually 3 or 4 of them. I've seen a map that I think I had 6 of them. And I believe they have made another update because they had it where you could not fish or try to salvage anything that was out in that area of the fog, and they did a hot fix and moved everything in so you weren't getting teased by, oh, it's out there but you can't have it. So they moved everything in. Well, there was like a load of food. I'd sit on a map for 30-40 minutes on the same map after I'd done all the quests and everything, just hauling resources out of it until I either ran out of food or really had no other reason to be there other than just hauling resources in. So, once I ran out of food, I'm gone. I'm out. As soon as the food's gone, I'm not making any more fish. Unless my stockpiles are completely maxed out, I'm on to the next map. I'm not going to do that right at this moment because I want to get my food and everything, my food production line set, at least begun, which is basically just a couple of storage units and a couple of drying racks. They'll haul the fish in. So they're still unloading plastic. They'll haul the fish in. They'll throw it in storage. Someone will take it out of storage, throw it on a drying rack, take it out of the drying rack, throw it back in storage, and then they can eat it. So the first one I showed you about offsetting this walkway, I'll spin this the right way, offsetting this walkway, and right here's the reason I did it. So that I can put this in here. And I can kind of tuck it in there. As soon as the waves stop, I can get it tucked in there, right there. So that is more storage. On this side, I won't do it on this side. I go ahead and kind of line it up. These 2 sides are centered, but these 2 sides are going to be offset. So I'll have my other one going up right off this edge. But this one, I'm going to kind of center and bring it out this way because my food production, I'm going to start it right over here once I start bringing some food in. So I'll set drying racks there. Pretty much I'm going to set it up the same as I did on this side. Storage, drying rack, except I'm probably going to go 4 drying racks, which is a little overkill. 1 boat will haul in 10 fish. Each drying rack will do 3 fish at a time, so 3 of them will pull in 9, but if you put in for the 4th one, you'll get the full 10. They can dry all the fish that come in off 1 boat in 1 whack. So that's why I went with 4. So this, turn the firewood off of that because I don't want firewood there. I want all the firewood out there. That is still set that way, so we're good there. Wait on a little bit of plastic. Oh, there goes my first fishing boat out. So that is Koi. And she actually comes out and stands there and fishes. She fishes really fast. There's 2 already. It's hungry little fishes for my hungry little survivors. So she'll fill that up with 10. There's usually 25 in each of these, though I've seen them vary a little bit, so it's 2.5 loads. So she'll bring all that back. We're up to 44 water, which is really, really good. I was really on top of the water. There's really nothing else for them to do right now. Sammy Flot's out running around. Coy's over there, and Strokes is over there just twiddling her thumbs.
Yo!
Because she has nothing to do. So, she built that. I'm going to have her go ahead and build a drying rack because I have the materials now. So that as soon as the boat pulled in, she figured out she had something to do. So now Stokes, she was standing over there. She just jumped up. Now she's running out here. Coy is thirsty, so she's going to go get a drink. And then she should turn around and pretty much run back out here and unload this boat. So I'm going to go ahead and set this drying rack here because they're going to start jamming fish in every little spot they can jam it into. And this is another reason why I don't really want all that wet wood in here. I kind of leave this limited, so I'm down to 13. At one point I was at like 70, I believe. So now I'm down to 13 in there. So, and, you know, they're chucking fish in there. So now I have a little buffer for storage. And later on, the storage actually does kind of become a little issue with the way that I'm playing it because I had an issue tearing the little storage units down. When you would go to deconstruct them, there's a deconstruct queue down there, and you get the resources back. But they would go and sit at like the very first stage when you initially set them to be built, before they were built. So they would go and deconstruct it, and it would go to the first stage, so that just the icon of that, okay, I want this built. It goes, reverts back to that, and then it just sits there. It never gets completely deconstructed. So I actually started one over because of that. I was like, man, it won't deconstruct. And and then another game playoff, I kind of figured out what I needed to do to fix it. So there's a new drying rack. I'm going to set it to fish. So all these little blue fishies that they came and threw in here, Sammy's passed out on the deck. That's what they do if you don't have a bed for them. They just, wherever they fall asleep, they fall asleep. So looks like, yeah, Stokes took the boat out because Sammy's sleeping. She didn't have anything else to do there, so she took the boat out, and Coy's over here fishing again. She's down to 13, so she'll go down to 5 on that. She'll bring those 10 back. Get some more plastic. That is almost done, so that as soon as Strokes fills up, picks these 3 up, that buoy's going to disappear. If I had another buoy already set, you would think they would just, she's only picked up 3 things, you would think they'd just go to that buoy and finish out. No, they won't. Once the buoy's done, they will come back and dump whatever they had. Then when the boat clears, they'll go on to the next buoy. So I want to go up here and set another buoy to pick up more plastic. Now here's where the little balancing thing comes in. I don't only have one boat, so I'm not going to set it for 2 boats. I'm also going to set one up here unless there's closer wood. Yes, there's wood there. So I want to set one here as well because I'm starting to get a little low on the wood. I'm down to 12 dry wood. I have no wet wood in there, so I'm going to have to get some wood. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Sammy, it should be Sammy that comes back. See how much I told you they drink? Strokes is thirsty again. Oh, there's some fish on the drying rack. So they're blue. As they dry, they will actually turn yellow, and then they're finished. That drying rack is complete, so I'm going to go ahead and set it up for fish as well. But these only give you a half of a food point. So what I have there right now, those 3 would give me 1.5. So if they pulled all those right now, which they won't, once they turn yellow, if they pull all those, my food will go up to 8.5. Once you get to where you have a cooking grill and things like that, you get better nutrition out of one fish. So there they just changed. They're yellow now. Coy came and picked them up, and threw them in the town heart. So now it went up to 8.5. So now I have fish in there as well. Double check on this. So now I'm bringing in nibble fish. So I had to take the nibble fish off of my firewood box, or you'll come in and their firewood box will be full of nibble fish, and you can't make any firewood because there's no storage for it. So I want to go ahead and kick that firewood in gear because I'm down to 5. So I can make all that up. That'll get them kind of started back on. Actually, I'm going to turn the distiller off for right now. because I don't really need them to be cooking that. I have 40 water. We're doing pretty good. So I want to allow Sammy, I think that's Sammy, should be Sammy, yeah. We'll allow Sammy to grab one stack of that, which will put me back up to 15. I may let him grab 2 of them, because each of these drying racks are 10, and I'm going to need to set another storage yard. Pretty much, I'm going to set it right here behind this. I may set it over here. But I already have a deck over here, and I'm going to have it there anyway, and I'm going to have, yeah, I need to go ahead and set it here. Because really about the only thing with the area that I have between this small storage yard and the backside of that distiller, I only have this little spot right here to put something in. So I might as well just do the storage right there. So let's speed them up again. Let's hauling fish in. There's more fish. Let's see. We were at 8.5. Now we're down to 7.5 because someone ate. So you kind of got to stay on top of this. This is why I'll only go with 2 wood drying racks, but I'll have 4 of these fish drying racks over here. All right, guys, come on, unload the boats. Unload the boats. So I still have that fish buoy, and you can actually click on this show all markers down here to the left of your buoy markers, and it'll tell you what you have. So I still have 2 fish out here. You can click on the eyeball to zoom you to it, and I have the plastic buoy that I set, as well as the wood buoy that I set. So they'll keep fishing, and they'll keep gathering resources until there's either nothing left to get, or I decide, okay, let's just go ahead and move on to the next board or the next map. Which I'm not going to go too crazy with it. I would like to get my food production. I try to get my food production set before I leave this first map. That way I'm going back up in food, because you didn't have food production for a while, so the number dwindled. And I don't like to be low. If it's out there, I'm going to grab it and bring it. So that number dwindled. Somebody's not working. They're sighing over there. So, let's see. Still have 5 firewood left. That is the second round. That'll put me up to 25. Let's just go ahead and set that box in there. And I think what I'm going to do next, let me shut that off. The waves are messing with me. I'm trying to place this thing. There's that one. So I think, yeah, 7. Those are 10 apiece. That would put me up to 17, because that's not emptied yet. So I'm going to let Sammy make one more run up to that plastic, and then I'm going to tell him to go over to this wood until I kind of get my handle back on the wood again. I get ahead of it, and then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next map. But there's a lot of room to build. I just like to keep it nice and compact and tight at the very beginning, so that I have room for the larger buildings, the larger storage unit, the solar. It's in the. Can't think of it. Yeah, the solar still. They're actually fairly large. That solar still is almost the size. It has about the same footprint as the sails, if not even maybe a little bigger. So I have a plan for those, and it is out here on the outer edge. And yeah, it's not the most efficient thing, but to plant those big boxes, those big solar stills out here in the middle, it's going to shove your production lines way out. So for them to go run out once a day and grab a bottle of water out of one of those, if they have to run, from the center out these walkways and come over here onto this corner or something and gather water and run it back in once a day, is better than them running back and forth with firewood all day. So there's Sammy going back out. There's Coy still fishing. And Strokes is just kind of taking it easy here, humming along, just enjoying the show. She looks like she's about to lose her balance. Either that or she's kind of doing the pee-pee dance. Okay, fish is done. She gathers it. So, I mean, they're pretty quick to respond. She's going to replenish that. Now she's going to turn around and grab that. Okay, now here comes the materials back in. So that will put me up to 27. So I'm going to turn this buoy off. Just remove it. And now, Sammy should go over here and grab the wood as soon as they unload these boats. It's working pretty well. So I'm down to 33 on water. So I'm going to go ahead and turn all this back on. Oh, wrong button. The catch is that where that's prioritized, they aren't as apt to go out in the boats. They'll do all of that before they go back out in the boat. So I try to kind of play the little waiting game. I'll let Sammy or whoever's salvaging and whoever's fishing, I'll let them get out on the boats and then I'll cue it. So they'll go ahead, they'll bring it all back in, it'll sit in the boat, they'll come back in, they'll start into those priorities, which you can see they're already doing it. This boat's fully loaded, that boat's fully loaded, and they're going in and doing hauling, wood cutting, and water distribution. But they have to load that. There it goes. Now they're loading it, and as soon as it gets loaded, they're right on it. It wasn't, I'd like for it not to be Sammy Flot, but as it stands right now, I'm going to leave his priorities the same until I get some more help. Manpower is a little low right now. But they're doing pretty well. Is that Sammy? Yeah, so Coy's going back out. Strokes seems to be pretty content with just hanging around the house there. Okay, so let's go ahead and build. I have enough. Yeah, I have enough. I want to go ahead and build the other two drying racks here. Drying rack there. And another drying rack there. And in a little while, these things are actually going to be totally useless to me. But, so I'll probably end up destroying them once I get the old fish kebab grill. You can make fish kebabs. It's a pretty neat little thing. It's kind of has like paddles here to get the rotisserie going. And they stand there pretty much like the picture here is. And that fish just spins over a fire, which you need firewood for it, but it exports nutritional value of 1 versus exporting a nutritional value of 1/2 just by drying them. And there is more to it. There is a fishing hut, which you use seaweed and plastic, but there's a whole other production chain for plastic, and it's a little further in, so it's not out of the scheme of being able to accomplish it. It's not hard and difficult to get to that point, but as long as you're balancing your food and water and making smart decisions on priorities, you can pretty much get out of it whatever you need. You can build some pretty extravagant things. By the time it's the whole flotilla here is fully maxed out and filled up. So there's another load of wood. So now I have 14 dry wood. He just brought in 10 more wet wood. And I'm going to queue that up again. Our food is coming back up. I think I'm going to let them gather one more round of food and or resources, and then we'll move to the next map. So as soon as they get that round of wood done, I think I want to let them stop once they get this last bit, because that'll put me almost back up to, should be 5 of them in there. Yeah, there's 5 to export, so that'll put me up to 37, almost back up to 40. I want it to kind of be constant, but I do also only have a max of 60. There are islands where you can loot and go and salvage bottled water coming up, so we will get more water. But as you see, I'm never satisfied with it, so I went ahead and started up some more. He's unloading. I need you to go out and fish, and I need you to go out and salvage, but I've given him a lot of work to do. 3 guys can pretty much manage this and really stay on top of it. It works pretty efficiently if you have one guy chopping, one guy moving, and one guy distilling. And there goes Sammy back out together. Another thing of wood. Hopefully Koi or Strokes will jump in that fishing boat shortly. Koi's going to go eat. Strokes is still stuck on water. So Sammy's already back with another load of wood, which I'm not going to turn the wood down. Always need the wood. Need more wood. Need more wood. Turn the firewood off that. I built that other blocks. And it's that easy. You start making firewood. Next thing you know, you're like, how did that firewood get in there? You're like, oh yeah, I didn't turn that filter off. So they'll sling it. As long as you're telling them to make it and there's a spot for them to put it, they'll just keep slinging it until they run out of places to put it. And I have used the auto queue pretty much constant queue for wood production, firewood production. But it's also put me in a pinch a few times here and there when I didn't necessarily need all that firewood, and I could have been doing other things with it. So here lately, I've just been watching it really close. Yeah, there you go. Go get that fish. So I've been kind of eyeballing it and just kind of manually doing it as I see it. And once you get some of the solar stills set, it's not as demanding. The downtime is a little longer. Like right now, it seems like I'm running full production about probably 75% of the time, and them not doing anything about 25% of the time. So he just ran out of wood, but he's going to go right back over. See, Koi's hauling, so she took the water out. Now she grabbed some more wood to satisfy the dryers. And now she's going to grab more firewood, sling it in there, and should jump right on it. Yep, there she goes. And it's Sammy, which doesn't matter. Unload that fish. Okay. I'm at a point. I've got plenty of wood. I've got wet wood coming in. My water's good. I can use the rest of those fish. I can use the rest of those resources, but there's going to be resources on the next map. And there's other things to do on the next map. So, well, I'm going to go ahead and let Sammy grab it. Oh, I need to turn that one on. Turn it to fish. So that indicates that I have an empty production queue. Basically, I've not told them to build anything. That's what that symbol means. That means they're out of firewood. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, guys, we're going to pause here because I have a feeling that Koi is going to go out and get in that boat. Or, yep, Koi's going to go get in the boat. So let's go ahead and switch maps. So that's the first map. And the oil, this fuel, down at the very bottom, I have 0 oil. So in order for me to move from certain areas here, it requires oil. I don't have any oil yet, but for me to move from one to the next, the wind will carry me. So I'm going to this next square. We're going to move here, and we're going to dig in there. But I think I'm going to actually do that on the next episode because it's about time. So y'all have a good evening. Like and subscribe if you like the video. I appreciate it. Every little bit helps. Newer channel, so if you like the video, please like and subscribe. And you all have a good evening. Thank you very much.